have sound on Twitch. And now I have to wait for the lag to catch up to me so I can see if there's sound. We have sound. All right.
And all of this will be on the YouTube version.
It will. Because I don't edit this show.
Nope.
All right. Casting on Dementia Radio now.
We're good.
And recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast, brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hey, Devo Spice!
Hey, Luke Ski!
Right next to me is Mr. TV's Kyle!
Hi, I'm pointing.
Yeah, and over there in Des Plaines, Illinois, it's Insane Ian.
I'm in this thing too, and I'm dancing also.
Yeah, we all did this stupid dance. Welcome to episode 579 of the Funny Music Podcast for July 22nd, 2021. The title of this week's episode is, And Whose Appendix Is That? And your job is to work that into our conversations this evening. So...
Whose appendix is it anyway?
And whose appendix is that?
My favorite game.
Let's do this.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke bailed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
Oh, he's right.
So, Luke, what you been up to?
Watch Mickey Mouse Now or Die!
Hey,
There,
I
now we
said
actually-
that, not you.
So, yeah, Carrie and Alexanne were in town visiting, and that was super crazy funster times.
That was an interesting series of videos you posted.
Yes. So, on one of the many evenings,
That's usually not a sentence you want to hear.
one of the many evenings when Carrie, occasionally, because she gets up early with the kiddo and is tired and likes to take little naps here and there. We went into the Erica Haynes Memorial bedroom, and that's where I was sleeping during their visit because I was on the futon, and I got at some point I suggested to Alexanne, like, hey, why don't we get my puppets out, because she had found them and just kind of found them on her own and brought them out and was messing with them, and
Also not a sentence you generally hear. Hey, let's get my puppets out.
Yeah. So we put my phone on a tripod and we filmed a bunch of little puppet videos on my phone, and I was intending to put at least one of them up on TikTok, but I didn't have any specific plans for how all of that would work. I just started filming one. So the first thing we did was I said, hey, I'll be the Luke puppet, and I'm gonna be myself, and I'm gonna be talking about plugging the Funny Music Podcast, and you be the Devo puppet, and you can just start saying silly things while I'm trying to plug the FuMPCast and talking to you like you're Devo. And that was the only lead-in I gave her, and we just and I started, and it just became this thing of beauty. It still cracks me up when I watch it, and I'm so proud of her for being so funny. So I posted that on my TikTok and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. We did a handful more, some of which involved the Ian puppet and the Kyle puppet, and also the Carrie puppet and a monkey. And so on my Facebook version, I just kind of put all of the rest of those videos underneath the FuMPCast plug video, and just put them all as comments so everyone can see them all. But that was a lot of fun. So now at some point in the future, not right now because I have to prepare for FuMPFest, but I need to make some more puppets, because first of all, I need to make a Lindsay. That's been a big obvious missing one in my repertoire.
Yes.
But I need to make a new one for Alexanne now that she's not the baby anymore, so that Alexanne can have her own proper puppet whenever we get together to do stuff. So
that'd be cool.
So yeah, and then we went to the Disney parks. Which was the first time I was back there, and we we went to a cat cafe on Melrose called I think it's called Crumbs and Whiskers, and
Alive.
yes, just like 26 little kittens running all over the place, and that was great. And I should just generally say we were Carrie and I were actually able to record enough podcast segments to do another bad rapport. In fact, the last 45 minutes worth of segment block, which I'll break up into smaller blocks, was all recorded while this podcast was happening last week, and where we were was waiting in line to exit the parking lot at Santa Monica Pier. So literally 45 minutes of us in my car slowly waiting to get out of the parking lot of Santa Monica Pier is where we recorded all that.
Bad for sanity, good for podcasting.
Yes. So that was a thing. And I'm sure I did other things, but that's the main thing I'm thinking of. The other main thing is just me trying to get my life organized and be practical, and at some point on my to-do list very soon is go back through all of Devo's emails about FuMPFest and write down information and answer questions and figure things out, because I need to make my FuMPFest to-do list, and so that I can make sure I'm ready for it. And part of that includes actually rehearsing my songs. So
Yes, please.
yes.
Oh,
So
crap, that's a thing I should be doing.
Yep.
Yes.
I made a list of all the songs I have to rehearse and stuff.
I need to rehearse the songs that I'm in that are other people's songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. So what have you been up to, Devo Spice?
Well, last weekend we went to Connecticut, visit my parents at their beach house in Connecticut, which was fun, except that my father is very sick right now. It's not COVID, but he has been sick for a couple of months now since he got his second COVID shot. It's been one thing after another with him. And just yesterday or the day before, he finally got a diagnosis. He has pansinusitis, which means all his sinuses are infected. He has all the sinus infections.
Oh.
So he's going to be on some serious antibiotics for the next few days. If he's not better by FuMPFest, he won't be able to come to FuMPFest because he will be useless and he will be coughing up a lung the entire weekend. So he won't be coming if he's not better. So I'll keep you guys posted. I know a lot of people look forward to seeing my father because he's a
here's
weirdo.
hoping he feels better soon.
Yeah.
Now that they finally diagnosed what the problem was.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, you should see his like, he has a written out schedule of all the medicine he has to take and all the stuff he has to do. Like, he has a nebulizer and he does a sinus flush and stuff like that. And it's like 5 a.m. do this, 6 a.m. this, 7 a.m. this. And it's like every hour or two all day up until 9 p.m. It's insane.
I'm really glad that sentence went the way that it did, because you started it with, you should see his, and I thought the next word was going to be mucus, and I really don't want to see that. So I'm glad that you meant other things.
No, thankfully I didn't have to see his mucus either. I just had to listen to him coughing it up all weekend. But so I
love the word nebulizer because it sounds like something Dr. Frank would say.
Yeah.
Behold, my nebulizer.
with a nebulizer, with squishing, and then sinuses.
Or Invader Zim or Dr. Doofenshmirtz or whatever. It's like,
Grr, where's my nebulizer?
I ate it for lunch.
The Illudium Q36 explosive nebulizer.
Where's the chew? There's supposed to be an earth-shattering chew.
So naughty and complex.
So other news. This is actually animation news. I watched the new Resident Evil show on Netflix, the animated version. It's very cool. And
Infinite Darkness. I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. Joe J. Thomas plays the President of the United States.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is really cool. And it was also somewhat disappointing because the president doesn't have a lot of lines, and it's like. It's like they went out of his way to not give the president a lot of lines. It's like, the Secretary of State comes into the Oval Office and gives this whole long speech, and the president just stands there like all pensive and doesn't say anything, just looking all pensive. And then the guy walks out, and that's the end of the scene. And I'm like, he was there. And then there's another scene where the president is going to give this speech to the nation to try to turn something about China and blah blah blah. And he gets up there at the podium and cut to another scene, and I'm like, come on! So it was frustrating.
Did they cut his part, or did they
No, he had some lines. It just they may have cut his part down. I don't know, but he did have some lines. It just seemed like they went out of his way to not let the president talk in this series for some reason. It was weird. But it's a good show.
You don't want a character like a president to be political.
Right.
No. Of course not.
Yeah, but no, it's a good show if you're into the zombie thing. So
I'm into the Resident Evil thing.
You are into the Resident Evil thing.
So, yes.
So, Ian, what have you been up to?
Oh, goodness. Many things. I decided to make a song about the season finale of Loki and released that last week.
And I helped.
And Kyle helped, because Kyle drew the single cover for it, which is getting me in trouble with Songcast. They don't want to distribute it because they don't want to fight Disney.
Yep.
Just like I helped Shoebox. Any more of you ever is going to ask me to draw stuff?
Right?
Yeah, I think we're
Nothing
done.
but trouble.
Right.
Model for y'all.
You're too good. But no, I did that, and I actually recently was cast in a online web series sitcom that is filming stuff soon. I'm playing a German interpreter named Johann, and yeah, that's a thing. And so we are filming a trailer for the series soon so that they can do a Kickstarter to raise money to actually do the series in production. And that's going to be happening soonish. We're filming that in beginning of August to hopefully film a series next year. So that's kind of exciting, fun stuff that I'm involved in currently. And beyond that, working on new album stuff. I've released a couple new songs on Patreon. The album probably won't be ready for FuMPFest. However, I will still have things to have purchased at FuMPFest to get you the album when it does come out. And my set for FuMPFest is going to be nothing but new songs.
Ooh. Teasing.
So that's exciting.
Yes.
And other than that, I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So.
All right. Sounds like fun. Kyle, what have you been up to?
So just before I walked in, I was dealing with credit card fraud for the second time this year.
Ooh, that's fun.
This time, and actually this was part of the last one too, and so I don't quite understand how this works. There was a Zoom account that is somehow attributed to me that was giving me like these nearly $500 charges, and I don't even know how to spend $500 in Zoom. They told me what email address was attached to it. Not one I own. It has my name on it, but it ain't mine. So that was fun. Yes. Besides that, fun and cool things are happening. So have you guys ever seen like Shrek Retold, where people remade the entirety of Shrek scene by scene? A group is doing that as well with the first SpongeBob movie, although I think that's going to be all animated. I think called SpongeBob the Movie Rehydrated, and I just recorded. They only wanted a backing track because the actors for the movie are going to sing it. But I did a cover of Best Day Ever, which has been on my to-do list for a while now, and I was so intimidated to do it because I'm like, can I actually play this? But like sitting down to do it, it wasn't all that tough. And so with that off my plate, I've got I've been working on an EP, and the song we're about to talk about is part of it, where it's a companion EP to go with the with Fidelity, where it's other songs I wrote a long time ago that never made it to a proper album. And so I am choosing to only have 2 songs left to go, otherwise this is going to become longer than an EP.
I don't know what that means, says the guy who put out an EP that was 10 songs.
And so, yeah, well, this is going to be 10 songs.
Yeah.
with the 2 bonus tracks.
Well, then you may not be allowed to call it an EP when you release it. You may have to call it a thing that it plays extendedly.
I don't think anyone's actually going... Like, I'll pay the album price to release this EP, and I can call it whatever I want. Who's going to actually stop me?
That's what happened with Shoebox, with the Pac-Man EP. He wasn't allowed to call it the Pac-Man EP because it was too long.
Well, the word EP wasn't actually going to be in the title of this thing anyway, because it's supposed to be the child of Why Fidelity and Phi Fidelity, so it's just called Lil Deli. And then my friend Shannon drew what the child of like the two monster creatures from the covers would have had. So
nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, one of the songs I'm working on for that is I had to I don't have a existing recording that I know of this old song, and so I kind of had to just remember all of the lyrics to a deliberately childish blues song I wrote before my voice changed called the I Didn't Do Nothing But They're Yelling at Me Anyway blues. And then in addition, that made me think of another song. I actually did write a couple of parodies when I was in middle school, and I wrote an absolutely brilliant one.
In middle school, you say?
A parody of Billy Joel's indelible "The Longest Time." It is about being at a county fair and the produce that you are presenting for competition is the longest lime.
Yes, that's
pause for applause.
Brilliant. Yes.
Okay. And so what I did is I, out of excitement, got out the lyrics to The Longest Time, wrote out the ones that I could remember, and then wrote the rest of it. And so what I'm going to do is write a completely different melody to go with these parody lyrics that I wrote.
Oh, okay.
The Buckingham Blues method.
Yes.
What was Buckingham Blues supposed to be?
Jack and Diane.
Oh, okay. Wow. That worked out well.
Yeah, and then ironically, years later on The Simpsons, he performs a parody of the Ballad of Jack and Diane on The Simpsons.
Yep.
That reminds me, I have this in my pocket.
I am jealous. None of the record shops in Illinois got them in. None of the ones that I could go to anyway.
For those who are just listening to this, it's the Weird Al Record Store Day Beat on the Brat teeny tiny record.
The 3-inch vinyl, yeah.
Yeah. And I was not going to search for it because I figured that my chances were slim, but my friend Aaron Shea surprised me with a copy of it.
Oh,
nice.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Lucky.
Yes. Yes, I am. Although the prices for them aren't too terrible on eBay right now, which I only know because I was looking for other teeny tiny records because I bought a teeny tiny record player and I didn't want to just have one record.
I haven't even bothered to look because I fear it.
Anyway,
I don't even have a regular record player, let alone a teeny tiny one, so I got to get the regular one first, and then I'll get a teeny tiny one.
This one will hang out by my Fisher-Price. But yeah, so besides that, I've been continuing to work on the Snoopy Show, which continues to be a super awesome job. I've been continuing to send in pitches to the Cartoon Network Shorts program, and though I have sent in 7, I've only gotten rejections for 2. So they are really backed up because I've been sending these things in since May.
Yeah, I have not gotten a rejection for the one I've sent in yet, so I'm just kind of like...
Well, then you know they're backed up if Luke hasn't gotten rejected yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Kopp texted me today telling me that one of his got rejected, but I was pretty sure that he sent that in after the one I did with him, and definitely after yours. So I don't know what's going on.
Oh, and then, so we put out episode 200 of Kyle Luke Talk About Tunes, and how long was that episode?
A lot.
And then, and last night we recorded an episode where we had special guest Candy Milo, and how long is that episode going to be?
About the same.
Well, that's good, because I thoroughly enjoyed the 200 episodes. Big congratulations on reaching 200. That was fun.
Yeah, bravo, guys.
Someday we'll get caught up to the FuMPCast.
Yes.
Even though that is not possible.
Considering you're both continually putting out episodes, that'll be an amazing feat if you do.
And if I ever have the spare time, which I probably won't, I want to take the part where Frank Totoro started doing Starscream and I started interviewing him. I want to turn that into like a little animatic.
Yes,
of
you
the
should totally
NPR
do that.
interview with Starscream.
Randomly, after that episode of the podcast, and then Kyle posting his new song on the FuMP, Frank Totoro followed me on Twitter.
Frank's supportive. I like him.
It's like when he says like, "Oh, we're best friends now," he pretty much means it.
He's a nice mug man.
All right, so Kyle, you posted a song.
I did.
Give us a quick intro. We'll give it a listen.
Here's a new song I made out of an old song.
All right, here is A Cat Named Flo by TV's Kyle.
Let me tell you all a story that goes off the rails. I was in a pet shop called Tails and Fails. I thought I'd walk out with a little goldfish, but then everything went slightly amiss. There was a cat inside that caught my eyes. It was cute in its way if you could look beneath the flies. I brought her to the register, they said her name was Flo. Then they said there was a thing I really ought to know. Before the clerk could even start to say another thing, I paid and rang cause I am very bad at listening. I sat little Flo upon the passenger seat, but soon the seat was gone. Is that what a cat eats? I got to my house and Flo ate my door. The fleas on her body were super hardcore. They ganged up on me and they said, you know, this house now belongs to a cat named Flo.
A cat named Flo, 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 a kitty named Flo, a cat 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 named Flo, a kitty named Flo.
Now to bring you the second scene, my scooter picnic brother, Insane Ian.
I was a tad concerned that the fleas began to talk. Then one pulled out a gun and said, now turn around and walk. The rest had grabbed my wallet and passed it on to Flo. The next thing I knew, I went out my window. As I sat there stunned in the middle of the road, I thought to call for AAA, but nothing needed towed. I'd call for the police, but what could I say? Besides the fact the fleas also took my phone away. As I brushed myself off the head back into my home, I heard a nasty sound and my heart sunk like a stone. It sounded like a weasel choking on an arcade token. Next thing I knew, I saw my house was smoking. I opened up my door and I cried at the disgrace. Flo and all her friends seemed happy in my place. My whole house was trashed, then I saw a trophy case. 20 years of bowling memories just had been erased.
A cat named Flo, 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 a kitty named Flo, a cat 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 named Flo, a kitty named Flo.
Bringing it in with Chapter 3, here's a verse from the great Luke Ski.
So for my final battle, made the weapon I would use. A ball of Roman candles, I ran in and lit the fuse. I hollered cowabunga as I lobbed it at Flo's head, but all the missiles missed her and blew up my house instead. Dusting chucks and frickin' wooden Flo showing her claws. Tied up by the fleas who took me close to Kitty's jaws. But when I was an inch away, it clearly could be seen. She really weren't a cat at all, she was a Wolverine. And by that what I mean, it was Hugh Jackman in disguise. He stood right up and I sat there befuddled with surprise. He's researching a role for a new movie out in May. The fleas were featured extras making $60 a day. The film won all the Oscars and the fans stole my debris. Just then I got an item in a package sent to me. A garment reading, I survived a cat named Flo attack. And all I got is a t-shirt and a TV's Kyle track.
A cat named Flo, 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 a kitty named Flo, a cat 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 named Flo, a kitty named Flo, a cat named Flo, a cat named Flo, yes, cat named Flo, a 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 kitty named Flo, a cat 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 named Flo, a kitty named Flo. Flo.
Oh, look, another earworm by TV's Kyle. What a surprise.
You think that's bad? Try working on it.
Oh, yeah, how many times did you have to hear that chorus?
Sarah yelled at me.
And I helped.
So this was yet another. This was yet another old song that you updated.
Yes, although quite a bit more of an update than most of these. The original was this is me in, I think, middle school, like realizing that if I sat at a piano and went dirt, 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 a song came out, and then like coming up with the dumbest possible thing I could have come up with for what the song was, and that was just like that piano part, like that's like the chord structure is pretty much the same. But I was like singing in a like bad Southern accent the whole time, and it's there's no rapping involved in the original at all.
I was going to ask if there was Kyle and Ian verses in the original.
There were not.
It was almost kind of a more bluesy kind of feel to it. Like,
yeah, that's because I didn't know how to friggin' play very well.
No, I meant vocally. Vocally, it seemed a little more bluesy in the original.
It wasn't my intention. I was just trying to do a bad country accent. So when I was looking through old songs that hadn't made it onto proper albums to do for this EP, I came across that, and I was thinking, this wasn't an immediate thought. This is kind of like a thought that kind of like creeped into my head over several years, and then this is finally my excuse to do it. But it's like, hey, I'd buy that for $1 is a song we like to do live a lot, and now time has not been kind to a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And so I thought, hey, maybe I should write something else to kind of like take that place, and that could be Cat Named Flo. And so I got Luke and Ian involved, and someday we will all be at the same event again, and then we can do this song.
And I'll remember my verse to this just as well as I always remembered my verse to I'll buy that for $1.
I feel like Luke didn't particularly write his verse to be memorized easily.
Neither did I.
I remember on one of his spoken word albums, Henry Rollins talks about like he was like doing this big concert somewhere, and I forgot what the song was, but it's like he knew that if he said the first line, that the rest would just flow, and then and that he'd have the whole verse or the whole song would be fine. And that like he got out there, and the song started, and then one of the other people in the band like did the wrong thing or played the wrong chord and was like, oops, oh yeah, wait, okay, now we fix it, boom, now we're back at thing. And like, because that distraction happened, he completely forgot the first line of the song and could not remember anything. So instead he kind of they kept playing the song, and he kept going around to like each member of the band, like rocking out with them, like, yeah, check him out, like, look at this guy on the drum. And like, he did that for like 3 minutes, and then when they got to the end of the song, he just went, yeah! And then like the crowd went crazy. He was like, oh, thank God that worked.
Well, that's like what Chris Ballou from The Presidents used to say, is like, if you screw up while doing a song, just do it twice and it's a part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mentioning, FuMPFest rehearsal before. Back in the old school days of my early performing at conventions, I typically had, a multi-hour drive from where I lived to wherever I was performing during, and I was usually by myself, so I could just practice singing my songs while I was driving to and from these places. And now I can't, that's not a thing that happens anymore. And just the way my life tends to go, the notion of I'm going to set aside time during my day-to-day life to just stand in my apartment and practice these songs, never really seems to happen either. My typically only practice I get is once I'm at the convention in the hotel room. If everyone will leave me alone for a little while in my hotel room, I'll get to practice each song like maybe once or twice before I actually, that day or a day or two later get to perform them on stage. So I'm making it a personal goal for FuMPFest to like do that. But unfortunately we won't be performing this song there. But the rhythm of what Kyle and Ian had done first, of that kind of it's like, okay, that's the rhythm I want to try to hit syncopatively with almost every line of this song. And it's one of those, like you said, it's like it's a bit of a tongue twister sort of, but once I can get those syllables, I mean, if I can memorize What's Up Spock, I can memorize anything.
Yeah, that's the thing that was kind of the cool thing about this song is Kyle had this original song from ages ago, and he had this new version that he just wrote just his part on. And he sent us both versions. He's like, here's this original song that I want to redo. This is what it sounded like before. This is what I'm going for now. We're going to do this kind of like an improv game. You continue the story with your verse. And which is how a lot of the Scooter Picnic songs kind of go anyway.
Yeah.
But for this particular one, that was really the main idea behind it. And he sent it to us, and both Luke and I tried to incorporate stuff from the original song in our verses.
Yeah, see, I was actually taking my cue from you because I saw your finished verse first, and I saw how you put that whole 20 years of bowling trophies all gone to waste, and I'm like,
which is a line from Kyle's original version,
and I'm like, oh, cool, okay, so I should follow Ian's pattern there and try to do the same thing in my song, but put my own twist on it for the very end because. Was it originally the last line of the song about it wasn't really a cat at all, it was a Wolverine?
Really torn a cat at all, it was a Wolverine.
So it's kind of like, so basically I kind of added a bizarre denouement to the song that wasn't there the first time.
Well, that was really kind of like the thing I enjoyed about this song in particular, and that was kind of the note that Kyle gave us when he sent us the songs originally. You said in the email, here's the original song, you could use stuff from it if you want, you don't have to. And I went, challenge accepted, and kind of decided to liberally borrow certain things that I enjoyed from it, because I enjoy the original song. I mean, I like being part of the new thing, but I enjoy the original version of the song the way it was. And I always like resurrecting old songs. I've done it before myself, so I feel that camaraderie when you do it too. So The Sounds of Chickens is a song I wrote when I was 12. So come on, it's clear that song was written when I was 12. But I anytime I get to write following a weird storyline that you've started is like, oh boy, Scooter Picnic vibes. Let me get into this. Yeah. So,
and to be fair, the only reason this isn't a Scooter Picnic song is because it's a remake of an old TV's Kyle song that's going on a TV's Kyle EP of like old reimagined songs. So, like,
right.
Conceptually, this is no different than a Scooter Picnic song.
Exactly. It's the same process we always use. When we started writing this, I thought it was a Scooter Picnic song because I wasn't aware of where it was going at first. So my verse originally, number one, I apparently wrote it while I was asleep because I ignored some things that happened in the end of the first verse, and my verse contradicted Kyle's verse. And he went, "This is great, except that it sucks. So do it again."
Oh, that's cute, but it's wrong.
So I redid things, and I had put it all into one doc, and when I originally put it in the doc, I titled it, a Scooter Picnic song, and he went, no, it's actually just the TV's Kyle song, and I went, well, okay, cool, I didn't know. So.
Yeah, my original last line was, all I got this t-shirt and a Scooter Picnic track, and then Kyle said, it's the same number of syllables, so make a TV's Kyle track. I'm like, oh, okay.
So if we add Luke to Scooter Picnic, does it become like a Scooter Buffet or a...
It's the Great Scooter Picnic.
Oh, okay. That's good. That works.
Which is like an 80s children's show with puppets.
It's one of those like direct-to-video, Disney Muppet things where Scooter is having a picnic. And...
This honestly would be a great song to have a puppet video for, I think. I'm not saying do it. I'm not saying, Luke, do that. I'm saying this is one of those things where, like, if we were together all together, this would be a cool thing to work on.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, like, here, Luke, do more work. I don't ever want to do that.
Well, Luke's going to be in Chicago on the Monday before FuMPFest. You guys got like 4 days, so not saying do it,
that
but
rehearsing won't happen.
What's that?
If you want to ensure that rehearsing absolutely doesn't happen,
right? Yeah.
Make a music video.
Oh, I will. I will lock Luke in his hotel room like for the day before FuMPFest and just be, rehearse, do it.
Well, do what I do, Luke. You and I both do delivery driving. Technically, I just make a CD of the songs that I'm having my set, and I just rehearse when I drive.
I'll probably do that, but I'm just always worried that even with the GPS on, if I get too in my head about the song I'm rehearsing, I'm just gonna keep driving by you were supposed to turn left over there, dumbass. It's oh crap, now I gotta turn around and
I didn't realize that your GPS was GLaDOS. Sorry.
Plus the fact that I have a depot to go back to, and there's actually people monitoring what I'm doing and where I'm going and how long it's taking me to get there, because they're giving their customers they'll be there in X number of minutes, and if I'm if I get behind, I'm going to get in trouble. So I'm doing my best to keep my ADHD under control.
And now I'm picturing Luke on stage at FuMPFest going, "Can we rock? What's up, Spock? Can we rock? Turn left in 500 feet."
What was I going to say? My brain went away for a moment. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So just in dealing with, my ADHD and my anxiety and my depression, people will talk about stims of things they do that give them that little drops of, dopamine or happiness or whatever that helps keep them going every day. I figured out recently in my life that one of the things that actually keeps me going is coming up with new ideas. Whether or not they actually become things doesn't necessarily matter, but just the fact that I thought of the idea and even for a moment go oh, it'd be really great if that happened, is a thing. So having said that, I have had thoughts, especially when Disney Plus added the Muppet Show and I started watching old Muppet Show episodes, I'm I could do another episode of the FuMPet Show. There's really no reason why I couldn't do another episode of the FuMPet Show.
That episode of the FuMPet Show could be a Saturday morning preview special.
It could. It very well could. So yeah, it's so there's so many ideas that I've come up with for MarsCon or for FuMPFest that were just basically born of, oh, that's an idea. I should tell Devo immediately, or I should write this down. I should make this a big priority. And then I end up, it's 2 weeks to the con, and I have a list of 37 things I have to do, because I had all these ideas, and I'm just trying to, I'm trying to balance between it's okay that you thought of that idea and made you happy for that moment, and maybe you can even write it down. Doesn't mean that you have to do it. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Just accept that ahead of time. You don't have to beat yourself up over not having created a thing that you thought of an idea for, So yeah, but I also think that much like I'd buy that for $1, this would make a great puppet video, especially if we, made a puppet cat for Flo and all of the little termites and stuff. That would be great. I would love that. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's a good idea.
But it's a cool idea. Hi, we're full of cool ideas. Do we accomplish them? Occasionally.
The fun.
Sometimes.
We do things occasionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You're just building puppets and you're like, well, whose appendix is that?
Right. There we go. Ding, ding. I need a sound effect for when people do this.
You said the secret word!
All right. So we have some feedback questions for Kyle from Draconis, so I'm going to do this.
Draconis alert. Draconis alert. Draconis alert.
I know this thing that I'm doing with my hands looks like I'm plotting, but these are new finger stretches that I'm doing because I have had some issues with my hands recently.
You have to do excellent, excellent, excellent.
Opa Byrne style.
Lisa needs braces.
Exactly.
That'll plan.
Exactly. Don't.
All right, what's the question?
All right, so Draconis wrote, Kyle and Luke, Will you two have an episode where you both compete on one of the Guess the 80s cartoon theme songs?
No.
See, that sounds like the kind of thing that would be the idea of somebody else on a podcast who wants to have us as guests on their podcast, so that neither he or I would have to do any of the prep work, so neither he or I would know what any of the 80s cartoons would be, so that, for example...
That's a good point.
Tony...
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like...
It took us nearly 200 episodes to have a segment.
We tried having a comment segment. It was nixed very early.
I hated it.
Yes. But, we should talk about the segment that we've come up with, since you haven't been on in a while.
Sure. Yeah, we started a new segment on Kyle and Lou Talk About Tunes in which we find an old Saturday morning preview special, like, the specials they would have on Friday, like the evening before a new Saturday morning lineup started up. And it's kind of like a completely dead form of program now that, like, Saturday morning cartoons aren't a thing anymore. So it's just kind of a fun, weird thing to revisit, like, because no two of them are alike.
I mean, some of them have the same general idea behind them or structure, but it's, what you do with that structure. And some, like the one that's coming up on episode 201, is actually fairly coherent and does a decent job of showing off what the forthcoming cartoons that season are on that network.
And stars America's sweetheart, Scott Baio.
Yes. and America's other sweethearts, Boss Hogg and Roscoe P. Coltrane. So
who would have known that Scott Baio would end up more problematic?
And then you look at
Chachi.
And you look at those three actors, and it's like two of them are doing a really good job right now. They are entertaining me thoroughly. So, yeah.
And we reviewed one starring Rowdy Roddy Piper a few weeks back that was clearly a backdoor pilot for a talk show.
Yeah. It was made by the Crofts Company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, I should throw this out there. Because there might be a hardcore Weird Al fan out there. There's like the missing holy grail of the of all of the Saturday morning specials. Is there was one in I want to look it up to make sure I'm getting the year right. I'm pretty sure the year was 85, and it was a ABC Saturday morning preview special hosted by Weird Al, filmed at Knott's Berry Farm, where he had Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, like people in costumes, as the co-hosts. And if you go to YouTube and such, you can
find a clip.
Yeah, you can find like a 6-minute video that has little clips from that episode, but the entire episode is not available anywhere. It was 84. That's what it was.
Lost media.
And it's amazing that when we got this idea for the segment, I went through. There's a Wikipedia page that lists all of these preview specials, and we started from 82. I made a spreadsheet. I put all the links in there, and it's amazing. Like, this is the only one that's missing. For all of the hardcore Weird Al fans who have put everything he's ever done on YouTube, it's like, how is this the one that nobody got a VHS recording of and has uploaded to the internet? And I know I watched that special when it first aired. I remember seeing the whole thing as a kid, and it just drives me nuts that that's the one that's completely lost to history. So
there's another awesome one that I can't seem to find.
Which one?
That I wanted to do a few weeks ago. There's one in which Harland Williams previews all of the kids' WB shows.
Oh, okay.
And I can't find that.
Harland Williams, who played Roscoe P. Coltrane in the Dukes of Hazzard direct-to-video movie sequel,
It all comes together,
and did a way better job than whoever played him in that other movie with Johnny Knoxville. So, yeah, he's the French Stewart of Roscoe P. Coltrane's. So that reference will make sense after you've listened to episode 201. But yeah, it's been real fun because just one day I was thinking about the fact that I know that there was a cartoon based on Wolfman Jack back in the 80s, and I just started texting Kyle about it from work, and like somehow amongst that text conversation, this whole segment idea was born. And we got at least another like dozen and a half of these things left on our list to go through. So
at the very least, yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
this is going to go through at least the rest of the year.
Nice, good. Yeah, I found a bit of lost television history that I'm anxious. I kind of want to track down too. There was apparently a show starring Tim Conway in 1969 called Turn On that got canceled while the first episode was on the air.
Oh, was that the one where it's like laughing but raunchier?
Something like that, yeah. There's like clips of episode 2 on YouTube, and that's it. It's like a 90-second clip of just bits and pieces of it, and that's like all that I could find. So but apparently, like, they got 15 minutes into the episode, and then like the president of ABC went on the air and said, the rest of this show will not be seen now or ever. And then they cut to like some emergency guy playing an organ or something like that they just had on standby.
I wonder if what's the name of that place? It's like the American television historical. There's some kind of museum that archives television. Like, I think they're located in the Beverly Hills area that has like almost everything ever saved, and you can go watch it. Because I remember
it's some guy's basement.
Yeah, me and Stephanie went there and watched, because we had missed, back then in like the early 2000s. It was like, I think it was it was like there was the Grammys, and I think Drew Carey was hosting, and then suddenly it was Drew Carey and Weird Al and the whole band of Those Darn Accordions all on stage at the Grammys doing some big musical number.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so we hadn't seen it, so we went to that place and we asked them to pull that up, and they were able to pull that up, and we watched it. Like, you basically have to sit there with headphones and watch it right there. They won't let you take anything with you. And this was before, video was everywhere on the internet. So if that place is still around, I should look into finding out, like, hey, you got that Weird Al special with the cartoons and the Scooby Scrappy? I'd like to see it. So we can add that to our trip also when we go to Santa Monica Pier to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, which is there. Anyway.
Because they won't let us into Nickelodeon to just play it in the lobby.
Aww.
There.
Such a crime.
Anyway.
All right, so Kyle, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
You can get all sorts of my music at tvskyle.bandcamp.com, including a new song called Party, Do It Right Now, which I would put on the FuMP, except for my next available slots in September, and this is supposed to be my summer jam. So...
Yeah, it's been a busy summer.
And also, I'm pretty sure my EP will be out by then, and I'll want to promote that instead. So, at least for the time being, it is only available on my Bandcamp and also other places where you buy MP3s. Or just listen to them.
Hey.
You don't like musicians having money.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. I have a slot for the Tuesday following FuMPFest. If I have to vacate that slot, I'll give it to you so you can put up your summertime jam in August.
Bless you, sir.
Okay. Because it's very possible I might not have the time to finish the thing I want to finish, but we'll see. But now we're covered.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we're going to move on to news and other songs. So, Kyle, you taking off or you sticking around?
I'm going to take off.
All right, then.
Good to see all of y'all, and thank you again, Luke and Ian, for being on my song.
Yay!
Thanks for having me, buddy. Hey.
I like being on Kyle songs.
Yeah, me too.
Bye, Kyle.
Bye.
It's time for Chicago's annual funny music convention, FuMPFest. This year, we're celebrating Dr. Demento's 50th anniversary with special guest, radio legend Dr. Demento, appearing live and in person. Dr. Demento will be presenting his Festival of Dementia, signing autographs, and hosting the 11th annual Logan Whitehurst Memorial Awards for Excellence in Comedy Music. FuMPFest is taking place August 20th through 22nd at the Westin North Shore in Wheeling, Illinois, and will feature performances by Bill Larkin, Carla Ulbrich, Steve Goodie, Bad Beth and Beyond, The Gothsicles, Ross Child, The Great Luke Ski, Worm Quartet, Insane Ian, Nuclear Bubble Wrap, Carrie Dalby, Ian Lockwood, and a special appearance by Sulu from The Dr. Demento Show. Plus Demented Karaoke, dumb parody ideas, the FuMP Showcase, and more. Visit FuMPFest.com to register and book your hotel room. That's FuMPFest.com.
Time for funny music news. Something.
In the news, The FuMP Volume 87 is now available digitally in the store. The CDs are in production and will be coming soon. This features all the songs from May and June, including a video interview with Garrett Snook of Il Neige, and it will be shipped to subscribers this weekend. Ian, I swear to God, all those texts were sent to you long before you joined.
So while everybody was talking to Kyle about his songs, I kept getting text messages from Devo asking, I emailed you the link, are you going to join the podcast? And I'm like, I think I am. I'm on the podcast right now, you crazy person. Why do you keep sending? And apparently all of them were sent ages ago, so...
Yeah, they were.
Cool.
So anyway, FuMP 87 is in the store digitally, and CDs will probably be up this weekend. Speaking of new releases, the Boobles' new album Boobie Road is now finally available from Needle Juice Records. It's available on vinyl, CD, and cassette. This is 21 tracks of Beatles parodies about boobs, including My Eyes Are Right Up Here, Maxine's Killer Mammers, Buying Braziers Together, and many, many more. Go to needlejuicerecords.bandcamp.com or needlejuicerecords.com, which also has a 7-inch of All You Need Is Jugs and Dear Prudish, which are not on the album, but you do get them digitally when you buy the album. So, and of course, all the money from the sale of this album go to breast cancer research. So it's for a good cause. Amy Engelhardt and Molly Horan have been awarded a writer's residency for September and October at the Bethany Arts Community Center in New York City. They will be spending 10 days working on a YA-oriented musical about teen empowerment, social justice, and ultra-localized Armageddon. Sounds like fun. So Amy will be available for choral, songwriting workshops, and coaching and house concerts anywhere within a 2 hours drive of New York City. So contact Amy if you are interested in anything like that. Details have been posted about the virtual concerts for Confluence. You can go to confluence-sff.org for details about that. Kenny Young and the Eggplants will be performing this Saturday at 4 p.m. if you're interested in seeing Kenny. FuMPFest news. We have a new sponsor, Christy Avery. Reduce waste and toxic chemicals from your life with Norwex independent consultant Christy Avery. You can find her at christyavery.norwex.biz. So thank you for the sponsorship. Christy has been a long-time, big-time supporter of FuMPFest.
And was one of our jurors for the Logan Awards this year.
She was, yes. So, big-time supporter. Thank you very much, Christy. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah!
And we have a new promo, which you just saw.
Or heard if you're on the audio version.
Yes. I posted the video to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you are one of those people who has a podcast or some other place you can possibly run it, feel free to do so. You can download the audio for the podcast, for the promo, at tiny.cc/FuMPFest21. That's tiny.cc/FuMPFest21.
And the video one will be at the beginning of this week's A Comedy Musician Reacts on my YouTube channel.
Ta-da.
YouTube.com/Insanian. Shameless plug!
And some upcoming deadlines for FuMPFest. Online registration closes on the 31st. The hotel room block closes on August 1st at 5 p.m. And the video contest entrance closes on July 31st. So basically you have about a week and a half to finish up everything. And I'm still waiting on a new report from the hotel to see how close we are to filling our room block. All right. Luke, you got anything before tour dates?
No. If I think of anything, I'll say it before the show ends.
Okay.
I have a tiny thing.
Go ahead.
There's a new song and video on my YouTube channel and Bandcamp because it had to be out in time for the season finale of Loki. I didn't have a chance to put it on the FuMP, and there was no slot for it anyway.
Right.
So because Steve Goodie took the Sunday again. So this thing, drawn by Kyle, is the new song Kang. It's at youtube.com/insanian, or Bandcamp is insanian.bandcamp.com. And it should be on streaming services at some point. We'll see if that happens. But in the meantime, Bandcamp and YouTube, go check it out.
You can also like it on TikTok.
You can also like it on TikTok, because I have one of those and did that thing. Yes. Kang.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great song. I really enjoyed that one.
Thank you. I
had to wait until after I saw the season finale.
Right, yes, because it is spoiler filled.
And I'm about to sneeze. Sorry.
That's going to be the soundbite for when somebody says the right phrase.
It's like
include the "I'm gonna sneeze" though.
Right.
Ian's new song is awesome. I am all for it. I thoroughly support it. But I feel bad because one of my favorite Ukla the Mock songs probably ever is their song "Kang the Conqueror,"
yes.
And I never thought that was going to be something that would be, current pop culturally, relevant.
Oh yeah.
And now
I'm a fan of that song as well. It's
So it's like I feel bad because it's kind of like Ian brought this new Kang song, but then there's this one, and I like them both. I don't know. Anyway,
we can promote both of them. They're both songs. They're both
Yes.
Yeah, I've said it before, but that Versus Evil song is one of my that album is one of my all-time favorite albums.
Absolutely,
one of those things where if I was stranded on a deserted island and I could have 5 albums, that would absolutely be one of them.
Oh, speaking of Ukla the Mock, and I guess kind of in this news section it makes sense. If you backed Rand's solo album, his little mini song collection on Indiegogo, the I think most backers should have gotten their audio files of the album, and the CDs are shipping soon. And same thing with MC Lars, who'd had a Kickstarter earlier. The date for the album is now for Blockchain Planet, formerly called Fear of a Blockchain Planet, is coming out December 17th. But the backers, if you backed that on Kickstarter, you should be getting that within the next couple of weeks.
Indeed.
Something I think that's worth mentioning, because just what the hell is going on? Biz Markie passed away.
Oh shit! Yeah. It's
like,
I was going to mention that.
What? Can we get some security around DJ Jazzy Jeff, please? I mean, what the hell? It's like Biz Markie, Shock G / Humpty Hump, Prince Markie D, MF Doom, DMX. It's what is going on?
Ecstasy.
Why are all the hip hop heroes dying?
Yeah, that was a shocker.
It's been a rough year. Yeah, well, that one, admittedly, Biz was slightly less of a shocker, because a week or so ago, people had hit Twitter that he had died, and his management went, "No, he's still alive. He's in hospice, but he's still alive."
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like, it sucks that we kind of feel like it's coming, but it sucks that it had regressed to such, but it kind of, in a weird way, helped lessen the blow slightly, but still it absolutely is tragic and sucks. I actually met Biz Markie once when I was in high school, because he's from the Baltimore area, and I was working in a music store at the time, and he just wandered into the mall, had a small entourage with him, but was not really making it public that, hey, I'm Biz Markie. He just wanted to come in and do shopping, and he had 2 other guys with him, and he just wandered around the store, picked up CDs, and I was like, I know who you are. I'm in high school, so I'm not confident enough to approach you and say hello, but I'll ring you up. Sure, here you go. And people let him shop and everything, so they weren't mobbing him or anything. It was really cool, but he was really kind of soft-spoken, really nice.
He always seemed like a cool dude, and just I will never forget the first time I heard Pickin' Boogers on the radio.
Right?
It was 1986. We were driving my I asked my parents to put on Kiss FM because that was the only station that played rap at the time, and they only played it every third or fourth song, and everything else was R&B. And And then they, Pickin' Boogers comes on, and I laughed my ass off. I mean, I was in the back of the car in the station wagon laughing my ass off. And I was like, I need to find out who this is. I need to buy this album now. And then I did. And I remember the DJ came on, and he was like, oh, man, God bless the Juice Crew.
Yep.
So, all right. Tour dates.
This is...
Go ahead.
Let me just do one more thing. If y'all remember a few weeks back, I mentioned I was looking for some Looney Bin episodes that were lost. I still haven't found them. They are episodes 17, 18, 41, 42, 43, and 44. If you were a Dementia Radio DJ, back in, around, 2002, 2003, 2004, if you may have, broadcast those on a CDR or with, sound files, and you think you might have them, if you would take a look, and if you have them and send them to me, I'd really appreciate it. Another thing I wanted to mention related to this, at some point, about halfway through the run of him doing that, around episode 45, he kind of self-made, like, he didn't release it as like a printed album, but he made a 2 CD kind of best of the Looney Bin set that was, kind of a collection of all the sketches he had done, with himself and with Daniel Barry and everything. So it was a 2 CD set that he called irregularly scheduled programming. So I have that 2-disc set, and the disc 1, when I put it in my my laptop to burn it to MP3s, it had all the tracks titles, and then I put disc 2 in, but there were no titles on that one, and I wasn't able to back then you basically have to go to that Wayback Machine thing to find any websites from that long ago. So to add to that other thing, if you were one of the people, he was basically saying he wasn't selling it. He was saying, if you want to get a copy of this, just email me and give me your address, and I'll burn a copy of the 2 discs for you and mail it to you, is the way he did it back then. So if you got those 2 CDs and you still have them, if you could look to see if you actually have a track listing for that second album, I'd really appreciate it, because I want to add the correct names of those tracks to everything. I mean, I could guess, but I don't know. And Tony certainly wouldn't remember and doesn't have those records from way back then.
I was going to ask if you asked Tony, because if he still has them, but I guess not.
Yeah, he's. I was talking to Tony the other day, and he reminded me of something I totally forgot. I've now listened through all of them through episode 78, which was the last one, which still had great funny stuff on it. Apparently, he and I recorded a bunch of stuff for another episode after that, but then it never got edited and put together and stuff. And we had a running gag about whenever somebody would say something or do something that we considered a paradox, they would disappear and then reappear at a random Red Lobster restaurant. So we had a whole thing that we recorded where it was representatives from Red Lobster were coming to us to sue us and complain that we keep sending all of these paradox people to their restaurant because it's just full of these weird paradox people,
and they're only getting the free cheesy bread.
Yes. So I asked him if he might still have those audio recordings, and he says no, they're pretty much long gone. So, but just the fact that he reminded me oh yeah, that was I guess truly the lost episode that never got finished. But anyway, it's yeah. I will shut up now so we can move on with the show.
Tour dates. On Thursdays online, Steve Goodie. That's why he's not here. On the 16th, the 16th was last week. On the 24th, in Whiting, Indiana, or is it Whiting, Indiana? I don't know. Captain Ambivalent. On the 30th, in Hopewell, New Jersey, Larry Tritel. And from the 30th through the 1st, in Blue Ash, Ohio, Mikey Mason. All right, birthdays coming up on the 25th. We have Austin Ash and Chris Waffle. Happy birthday, guys. All right. Now, I have a pre-recorded interview with Steve Goodie for his song, and Casey from the... I always forget the name of his act. The Oldest Forest. I always want to say The Last Forest, but The Oldest Forest. Casey was supposed to be joining us this evening, but he's not here, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Steve's song and interview first, just to give Casey a little more time to join us if he's running late or something. So here is Steve Goodie's song, The 3 Dog Night One-Term Loser Maga Moron Medley, a.k.a. the Nitwit Whisperer, by Steve Goodie.
Just
just an old-fashioned gun law coming from the crazy GOP. Just an insane open carry, no permit needed, free-for-all gun law makes me so proud to live in Tennessee. Well, he's never been to Pittsburgh, but he's been to Mar-a-Lago. And when he visits Puerto Rico, he always brings some paper towels. In Arizona, they keep counting votes, but what does it matter? Ain't nothing sadder. Tucker told me Donald won. That's right. That's why Maga threw an insurrection and someone got kicked off Twitter. But there ain't no way Donald won. None. There ain't no rigged election. Son, wash away my sorrows, wash away my tears, Uncle Joe and Kamala. I had one long nervous breakdown for 4 damn years. Glad we got Joe and Kamala. QAnon, they say God's coming back. QAnon, oh, the IQ points they lack. There's a lion sack of bull crap. Ken Copeland and Al Capone combined. His believers hang on every single word he says when he's talking out of his behind. Yeah, he always has some mighty fine hydroxychloroquine, singing, "Oi, I'm gonna hurl." He's the Nitwit Whisperer. He thinks the moon's a plant and his cult agrees he's full of hamburgers and cold fat feet. That was Don, everybody. Give him a hand. He'll be back in August. Oh, God.
Being recorded. Yeah.
I'm here with Steve Goodie. How you doing, Steve?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So tell us about this song with the ridiculously long title.
Sorry about that. I screwed everything up, didn't I? I didn't know there was a limit.
I didn't know there was a limit either. Apparently, there's a limit to how long the file names can be.
And what is that limit for future reference?
I don't know.
Oh,
right. I got
shorter than what I did.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I just happened to be waking up one night, and I put on some Three Dog Night. I like Three Dog Night. I found their greatest hits, and I was just listening to it. And every time another song came on, I thought of a parody, and I jotted it down. And then another parody, and I jotted it down. Like, I think I have to do this. So I did. And I wore this shirt for the video. You know, a lot of the fans, they want to see the original costumes.
Yes. I did notice that you wore that.
And sets.
The video. Yeah. No, that's great. So were you staying up thinking of Trump, or did it just like...
They just kept coming to me. Not that I'm trying to. I'm trying not to think about him, quite honestly.
Yeah, so am I.
And as I say, if he'd go away, I would stop. But no, this was very much not a conscious effort. I consciously tried not to, and then they just kept coming.
Okay. All right. Well, it happens.
It does. Paul McCartney had yesterday. I had this mess.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do. You got to lean into your strengths,
That's right. Yeah, it's best to think of it as a strength.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I don't know what else to ask you about this song. Good job. It's neat.
Thanks. I was shooting for neat. Yeah.
And I want to apologize. I completely missed your show with Brad. I was totally intending to do it, and then spaced. And I was like, "Oh shit, I got to buy tickets." And I'm like, "Shit, the last day was yesterday." I was like, "Damn it!"
Okay, these things happen.
Totally spaced. So how did it go? How did everything go with that?
We had good shows, and we got some good reviews, and we certainly got better at the show. Doing a show 14 times in a row every single day does make it tighter. We did it for 2 weeks, then we took 3 weeks off, and then 2 days ago on Sunday we did Blind Lemming Chiffon's Festival of the Living Rooms. We did the show again after 3 weeks off, and it pretty much popped right back into place, which is encouraraing. We had a little rehearsal beforehand just to make sure we had all our props and everything, and we also learned don't count on other people to run the Zoom meeting. Because Brad and I are in different places, and when we run it, we know how to switch back and forth, how to spotlight one or the other or both. And man, it was just pulling teeth to get that to work right. But we are kind of hoping maybe Delta variant notwithstanding, we might not have to do it online anymore.
Yeah.
We'll see. But if we do, we're running it ourselves.
So wait, how do you spotlight somebody intentionally?
Well, if you're the host. Sorry?
Do you just pin them?
No, there's a spotlight feature. You have to have more than two people in the meeting, so you can't do it in this particular meeting.
Okay.
But if you've got 3 or more, and you're the host, or hopefully co-host can also do it, you click the little 3 dots at the upper right of the person's window, and an option to spotlight comes in. And recently they've added add spotlight, which means you don't replace what's already being spotlighted, you add to it. So you can have, I don't know what the limit is, two is what we want, so you can see both me and Brad in our separate places doing something in sync together.
Oh, that's good to know. I will definitely try that on the FuMPCast because I usually keep this on speaker mode. That way, whoever's talking, it just jumps to them and I don't have to do anything. But every so often, it's like I want it to stay on somebody and it doesn't. So I always end up pinning them,
But that only works for you.
Then I have to unpin them. No, it works for me, but it works for the cast because it's being broadcast off my computer. So.
Okay. Yeah, our audience members want to see what we want. Well, we want them to see what we want them to see.
Right.
And it's not being broadcast to anybody else. It's just the people in the Zoom meeting. So we need that kind of control. It's pretty easy.
Cool. I will look into that when we have more than one person on the meeting, more than 2 people on the meeting. Yeah. There was something else I was going to ask you. I guess you answered it. I was going to ask you why you chose to do a medley instead of just expanding out to do full parodies.
I kept coming up with dumb ideas, and I didn't want to write any of them all the way.
Oh, no. I know the other thing I was going to ask you. Your show at the Bluebird Cafe, is that happening again?
It has begun again, yes. As of this past Friday, the 16th, they opened up. It's both joyous and frightening. But they're not requiring masks. They're not requiring vaccines, but they're encouraging both. And I've got my vaccine, and I just keep reading the statistic. My vaccine will protect me. My vaccine will protect me, and I wear my mask.
Yeah,
I try to stay away from everybody. But it's an interesting thing, entertaining people when this is Tennessee. Probably half of them are, in my opinion, being idiots. But we've done this before. It's just never been a life and death idiocy.
It's not that much better in New Jersey. I mean, I think we're at 60%.
We're at 37%. It's much better in New Jersey.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that.
Plus, we get people from all over the country, mostly country music fans. So guess what? Red states.
Yeah, we're at 64% with 1 dose and 56 with both. So.
Okay, that's not bad. And again, they're saying it's going to be a pandemic of the unvaccinated. It is mostly 99.5% affecting the unvaccinated. But I don't want to be part of carrying it to other people. And I don't want to be that 0.5% either. So yeah, the 0.5% of us vaccinated who do get it, 100% of them have survived, from what I'm reading.
And I've heard almost all of them have been like non-symptomatic or very
mild.
Very mild.
We're probably fine, you and me, but it's still come on.
No,
on.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah,
it could have been over. We could have
been over in June last year.
Yeah,
if everybody just stayed put for 2 months. But no.
Yep.
I blame Tennessee. I get a lot of, well, why don't you leave? Because thanks to places like Tennessee, nowhere's safe. Where am I going to go? Go to Tom's house?
Yeah, but
Tom's
you're
in his basement.
Yeah, I'm in my basement, and you're in a good place for what you do with music and whatnot.
Yeah, it is fairly ideal. It's nice to be able to advertise at the Bluebird again with my little flyers. That's my whole promotional budget, is I print little postcards that tell the aspiring songwriter, what a good deal I am if you hire me as your recording studio. That's all I do. And I haven't done any of it in over a year. So I've just been getting by. It would be nice to get, let's have a surge of something that actually pays.
Yeah, you wouldn't get nearly the amount of work if you set up a studio in my basement here.
Well, actually, I might, because a lot of what I've been doing is repeat business or word of mouth between people I've worked with and other people.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter where they live. Most of the recording I probably will continue to do will be remote. The only thing they need to be present for is their vocal, and most people can find a vocal recording studio wherever they live, and they can sit in on the session here. They can see the Pro Tools screen. We can StreamYard it. I think I'll have plenty of work wherever I am. But there's more momentum here. It is certainly advantageous to be here.
Cool. All right. So anything you'd like to plug?
FuMPFest 2021.
Yeah.
Delta be damned.
Yeah.
Should call it Delta House and throw a couch out the second story window at them.
I like it.
Yeah. And my new
Hotel
CD will
won't,
be
but I do.
My new CD will be available thanks to the duplication genius that is Tom Rockwell.
As soon as you send it to me.
I will be getting you some files within the next 10 days. You said by August 1st, so that's my deadline. I hope to get it a little earlier. The audio is almost done. I listened to the whole master again yesterday, and there's a couple of more tweaks I want to make, but audio
You have
good.
a title for the album?
Yes, it's called What I Did Over My Pandemic Vacation.
Good one.
Yeah, and it's sort of in chronological order. So a lot of the songs, Trump is still president, and then as we graduate, then I get to make fun of people like, Matt Gaetz and Ted Cruz and fun things like that. And I tried to keep the dirty songs at the end and yet be in chronological order. That's impossible because I swear a lot during pandemics.
Yeah. Well, you do what you can.
Yeah.
So, all right. Looking forward to that.
Thank you, sir.
And we will catch you next time.
All righty. FuMP on.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback.
Feedback.
Feedback. You know that segment of the show we do about now?
Feedback. Feedback.
Feedback.
Feedback. Hannerhack wrote, Bob Crane polka. I think I hear a new FuMP-specific theme song. Kelly Dwyer and the Thelma Todd Blues, Bad Beth and Beyond with the Bela Lugosi Ska Consortium of Genius, the George Reeves Calypso, and the Cirque du So What sing Barbershop Quartet, the Tupac Shakur Shuffle. Hamnerhack has obviously been hanging out with Draconis.
I was just going to say, that wasn't a Draconis comment?
It was not.
Neat.
All right, and we already read Draconis's comment, so that's it for the feedback. Luke, I wanted to show you this. My headphones keep cutting out. Come on. We have a subscription to BarkBox for the dog. Which gets him new treats every month and new toys every month, which he invariably loves. And this month's toys are Space Jam. So we got a little Tweety bird, and we have a Bugs Bunny with a little basketball, and so I thought they were cute. I thought
that's super cute, awesome.
And he's not too fond of these particular toys because they're bigger. He likes the smaller toys. Like this is his favorite. This is a pea, and it came 3 in a pod. And the pod Velcroed shut, so you put the 3 peas in the pod and then Velcro it shut, and then the dog goes nuts trying to rip it open, and eventually does and rips them out, and then takes the peas and runs around the house. So he loves these things. Like these are all the toys that are like around this size. He loves because he's a small dog. Yeah. So
that's cool.
All right. So it looks like Casey will not be joining us. Unfortunately, I don't know why. He said he'd be here. Things happen. So I'm just going to play his song. So here is I Learned Everything I Know About the Ocean from a Talking Seal by The Oldest Forest.
Out at the end of the Santa Monica Pier, there's an old seal surviving on fish and garbage. He will answer all your questions if you have the time to lend him an ear. And he'll provide you with some very useful maritime knowledge. So I asked him, what's the deal with the seal's whiskers?
To the mustaches of the sea.
What is the most annoying kind of fish?
A clownfish, but you ain't heard it from me.
What's it like to be soaking wet all the time?
Well, it's all I've ever known, so I guess it's fine.
Why do crabs shovel from side to side?
Cause they're notorious drinkers, they waste it all the time.
Is it true that if you punch a shark in the nose, it'll leave you alone?
Give it a shot, man, see how it goes.
Man, how did a starfish get its name?
How high are you? That question's insane.
I learned everything I know about the ocean from a talking seal. Oh, So then I asked him, why do seals bark like dogs?
Have you ever considered the dogs bark like seals?
Have you ever met a manatee?
Yeah, I choked on the ashes of one once in the 90s.
Is that a reference to that Nirvana song?
Yeah, we love them down here, we play them all night long.
Are dolphins actually as happy as they seem?
Most are chronically depressed, ironically.
Is there such thing as a cracking down below? And if so, could it take down a vessel with its tentacles?
Yep.
Wow, I thought that was a myth.
Yeah, everybody does until one's eating your ship.
I learned everything I know about the ocean from a talking seal. Oh, and I'll pay a little visit anytime I get a minute at the end of the Santa Monica Pier. And then I asked him why do fish swim in schools?
Well, they don't learn much, but it looks pretty cool.
How much horsepower does a seahorse have?
Very little, they ain't nothing like the ones on the land.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
Well, if a woodchuck could, I would imagine a lot.
Who are all those birds hanging out on the rocks?
Who, my pelican pals? They just saving my spot.
Is the motion picture Finding Nemo an accurate depiction of what life's like down below?
Well, the story was a little far-fetched. There's no way in hell they would have found that fish.
I learned everything I know about the ocean from a talking seal. Oh, and I'll pay a little visit anytime I get a minute at the end of the Santa Monica Pier.
So what do you do as a profession?
I think the song works better when I ask the questions.
How about if I tell you a joke?
Is it millennial friendly?
Yep.
Okay, go.
What is a pirate's favorite letter?
Ooh, I wonder what it could be. Is it R?
Good guess, but actually they prefer the sea.
I learned everything I know about the ocean from a talking seal. Oh, and I'll pay a little visit anytime I get a minute at the end of the Santa Monica Pier. I learned everything I know about the ocean from a talking seal. Oh, and I'll pay a little visit anytime I get a minute at the end of the Santa Monica Pier.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. And I have a job.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ian, what did you say?
I said that has some serious Bone Cage vibes.
It does. Teasing. I miss Bone Cage. We need more songs by him.
He's still doing stuff, but he's doing a lot more nerdcore centric stuff.
Yeah.
He has a new channel called Mute Arcade, which does songs with, I forget who he's teamed up with on that channel, but he has also got his own stuff too. Some of them he posted something on the FuMP last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
he shows up
a lot
now
of it
and
is
then.
hitting his YouTube channel. So.
All right. Yeah. Tomorrow's song is by New Middle Class.
Ooh.
And wait a minute. Why are we on a black screen? Oh, there we are. Hi. Sorry about that.
Whoopsie. Whoopsie doodles.
And Tuesday's song is by Nuclear Bubble Wrap.
Ooh.
And next week's Spotify playlist topic is video games.
Oh, I have a couple of those songs.
No, you don't. No,
yeah, I do.
You've never done a song about video games. I know you.
Wait, no. Am I in the wrong dimension? Am I the variant? What's happening?
All right.
You're in the dimension where I released all those songs from that bit we did.
Oh, that bonus track.
Yes.
Ian, plug yourself. I don't think we have
InsaneIan.bandcamp.com, YouTube.com/InsaneIan, and Patreon.com/InsaneIan. If you want previews of the stuff that's going to be on my new album and also kind of help me make it, go join my Patreon. I'm putting out songs as I finish them onto there, and it's kind of like a sneak preview before I release the album and put them out for everybody else to hear. They get them early on Patreon. Plus, you get all my videos early there, too, and all sorts of other cool perks. Patreon.com/InsaneIan. Or if you just want to be like everyone else, just subscribe to me on YouTube.com/InsaneIan and get my songs at InsaneIan.bandcamp.com. Cool.
Hey, let me ask you. Your YouTube channel used to be youtube.com/puddingcapacity.
Yeah.
Did you change that, or did you make a new one?
I changed that.
You can change that?
I changed that when you could change that.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think you can change that now.
Okay. Because I was wondering if we should change the FuMP's channel to the FuMP rather than Funny Music Project.
When I took over, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff on the FuMP channel on YouTube, I tried to get it to be just the FuMP, and I couldn't.
Okay. Oh, well.
So this the name that we have now is the closest I could get to us being correct.
It's fine.
He took over the FuMP channel. He took over the Time Variance Authority. He became the Scarlet Witch. Nothing worked. There's nothing.
No.
Those
All
Infinity
things are
Stones
bad
are
now.
paperweights.
It's all my fault.
Yep. All right. TV's Kyle is at tvskyle.bandcamp.com.
Bandcamp.com.
Steve Goodie is at stevegoodie.com. And The Oldest Forest, I think, is at theoldestforest.com. But I'm not sure.
I know they have a YouTube channel. I've not been able to find them anywhere else.
Let me check, actually, because I can pull it up on the website. They do have it is YouTube, except it doesn't have an easy URL to give out. So look up The Oldest Forest on YouTube. They are linked from their page on the FuMP. Alrighty. I think that's
And
it.
were there anybody else on songs who should plug themselves?
I don't know. Were there?
Hi, I'm the great Luke Ski. You can go to thegreatlukeski.com and lukeski.bandcamp.com. Yay.
Hey, Devo, I think Luke's being subtle again.
Hey, Ian, did you get my text about coming on the show tonight?
No. I'm not here.
Oh, that's what that is.
Oh, my God. Did you get my confirmation? Or my other confirmation?
Yes.
Or the 3 confirmations after that?
Yes.
And then the confirmation I sent to be a jackass?
Indeed. Yes. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski.
And I'm also here.
Woo!
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Shout it to random people on the street. And be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
I don't care who you are, that's funny right there.